Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the Witch's Cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today's video is on the astrology involved in the full moon in Gemini occurring on December 18th, 19th, depending on where you are, and on the winter solstice itself on the 21st, and to go over, some other things that will be occurring through the end of 2021 in December. So 2021 has been another one of those roller coaster years because of the push-pull between Uranus and Saturn. That has been the driving energy for this year. The push of the old systems and control versus new way of doing things and new systems and individual freedoms. So we remember that we had our lunar eclipse on November the 19th and a total solar eclipse on December 3rd or 4th, depending on where you are located. I did videos on both of those, so look for those on the channel. And that energy of this year has been about purging of the old systems to allow for new systems to come through. It's control versus freedom, the old versus the new, government versus the people. So we have the full moon at 27 degrees, 28 minutes of Gemini on the 18th of December, and that is 8:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the U.S., which would be 11:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., and it would be 4:34 a.m. on the 19th in the U.K. So, as I always say, you may want to find in your natal chart where this falls. Because with this alignment, this is about, it's a culmination, a completion, a closure of something that is relevant in your life, and particularly to the house or area of your chart where you find 27 degrees of Gemini. That area of your life will be particularly affected by that need to close out and complete a cycle so that you can begin a new one. There is going to be, all right, at the full moon, everyone knows that emotions can be a little higher. That it's been proven, like in jails and things, that the inmates tend to get into more fights, more anger, more, verbal altercations. And, hospitals are busier, more babies are born around the full moon. That full moon energy definitely has an effect on us as human beings. And if you are a magical practitioner, you're well aware of what full moon energy is and what it can do for you in your manifestation, in your rituals. With Mercury being the ruler of Gemini, okay? Mercury being the communicator, it can, harsh words can come out, and especially where you are arguing facts, okay? There are always two ways to presenting facts or how you frame something, And there's going to be a lot of that where, opposing views may be spinning the facts to whatever way suits their narrative. And this can then, in turn, be the impetus for more arguments and things coming to a head, okay? And Mercury will be exactly square to Chiron within 7 minutes of exactitude at 8 degrees 33 minutes Capricorn for Mercury, and Chiron being at 8 degrees 27 minutes of Aries. And Chiron will also be stationary direct on the full moon. And, information may come in about health, healing, and illness. And I'm going to throw it out there. I think there are going to be more arguments, vax versus no vax, COVID statistics versus, whatever. Okay, I think more of that will come to a head, especially as more countries start imposing more punitive measures for those who, for whatever reason, I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm not picking a frickin' side, those who, for whatever reason, do not want to get vaccinated. And I think this full moon is going to start off a period of continued pushback between the people and the government, trying to, limit freedoms, limit access to healthcare, limit access to food, and things of that nature. Now, if we remember that on the 4th of December, the solar eclipse was conjunct the great attractor, and now this full moon opposes the galactic center at 27 degrees Sagittarius. So this highlights as being, this month is being very important for the Earth and the galaxy as well, and our place in it as galactic citizens. Despite everything that is going on in the mundane right now with economies, with the vaccine, with COVID, with everything that's going on right now, it's very hard for us to remember that a lot of what is going on is encouraging us to step into our bigger view and vision for humanity, and to view our place on a different level, for us to step into our higher self and to evolve and change and match our personal vibrations to the higher vibrations that are going on right now from a galactic standpoint. We want to focus our efforts on creating something that is a loving thing for us all and a beautiful place for us all. It's an opportunity for us to connect to our higher consciousness, and also to open yourself to receive information from other dimensions or other galaxies. Gemini is usually not only a sign of facts, okay? It's also about making choices based on the facts. And Gemini is typically a fairly restless sign. It can give very disjointed, distracted, like squirrel energy, if you are not aware of that, okay? And it can it can lead you into having what I call analysis paralysis, because you're sitting there, well, if I do this, what's this, and this, and I'm scared to go there, and blah 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 blah. And Gemini is encouraging you to make conscious decisions based on the facts, but not overanalyze to the point where you just paralyze yourself from being able to do anything. And that's what a lot of us, me included, are want to do during times like this. Neptune is in a wide T square to the sun and the moon. So there may be a lot of layers of truth. There may be a lot of information that is misinformation or disinformation. And like I said, facts can be framed in several different ways. The facts never change, the numbers never change. At the heart of it, it's just how it's framed that someone can make it suit their argument or put forward their narrative as well. So I encourage you to really take a hard look at all the arguments and all the ways that people are expressing themselves, expressing their frustration, expressing their hopes, their plans, etc., and then make a well-informed decision on how you should step into your role in this higher evolution for humanity itself. I'm going to encourage you to really tap into your intuition during this time, because your intuition will be key through wading through the muck to get to the truth. Venus will be tightly conjunct Pluto at 26 degrees 29 minutes and 25 degrees 32 minutes Capricorn at the full moon. And this will put a spotlight on Venus's connection to value and the value of something. Currencies, wealth, stock markets, banking, and big business. Big business being represented by Capricorn. And Venus is also stationary retrograde at that point during the full moon. So this highlights those themes even further, and a reminder that something is moving backward in the financial picture and in financial systems in some way. The final exact Saturn-Uranus square occurs on the 24th, and Venus comes to exactly conjunct Pluto for the second time on the 25th. So this places a great focus of energy on the economy, your finances, and around the issues of control versus freedom, old versus the new, the past versus the future, safety versus autonomy, compliance versus revolution. And all these things are thrown into higher presence during this period of time between the full moon and on the 18th, 19th, and the 25th. I think that some countries may try to put in place even stronger controls, but I think over the Christmas time to limit gatherings, etc., etc. But I think that the people are going to say, you know what, we're not doing this again this year. We're not missing out on our holiday season. We're not missing out on our family and our friends and our get-togethers. And it's like, I think there's going to be a lot more pushback from people to assert individual control versus the government trying to control and lock everything down. And when Saturn and Uranus are in hard aspect, that usually coincide with falls of the stock market, and December, January, I think the end of December, first part of January, we may see a rather significant change or drop in stock markets, and more and more issues with various world economies. Through the end of this year, Eris will still be tightly square to Pluto. And at this time, it's at 23 degrees, 43 minutes of Aries. Eris is not only a street fighter and the voice of the people, she is a truth teller, okay? She will be the one that will say, stop fooling yourself, stop being fooled. And this, again, ties into that full moon in Gemini between information and facts and getting to the truth, and then making those informed choices about your path. Ceres is conjunct the North Node at 0 degrees, 22 minutes, and 1 degree, 39 minutes of Gemini, respectively. This puts a highlight on continuing issues around food supply and transport, with Gemini being over deliveries in transport. Ceres is the goddess of harvest and grains, and food in general. And Saturn coming into its exact final square to Uranus in Taurus also suggests limitations with the energy of Saturn and disruptions with Uranus. Okay? Uranus is that very chaotic energy, and it will be linked to food and other natural resources that are the domain of Taurus. Okay? And I think that people who have not taken the time to kind of stock up on some shelf stable foods, or not had the resources to stock up on shelf stable foods, will really feel this pinch into the early part of next year. Now, on a little bit of a happier note, Jupiter is sextile the moon and trine the sun at 28 degrees 10 minutes of Aquarius. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius and linked to the galactic center in that sign. So this can kind of give you that feeling of optimism, a hope, big visions, and a different outlook on your future. And remember that Aquarius is also the sign of freedom and independence and represents the galactic. Now, around the time of the solstice, there's going to be some extra photonic energy floating around out there. I've been saying, the Earth is going through a belt of photonic light again, and we're all feeling it with this frenetic kind of energy. And there's going to be more like, I'm going to call it like a bombardment between the 15th of December and about the 11th of January or so. And this can make you feel very uncomfortable and have a physical impact, a physical effect. Your body will physically be trying to adjust to this bombardment of energy and light. And we're having to kind of like, I'm going to say, upgrade ourselves. It's kind of like me trying to move from Windows 10 to Windows 11 and having some, issues along the way whenever, a main operating system of a computer comes along, there's always bugs and glitches and things, and that's what we're upgrading, and we're feeling the effects of all those bugs and glitches because we are trying to, our bodies are trying to physically match this higher vibrational energy that we are all being called to. So it's going to be more body pain and inflammation in your joints. It's going to be migraines. It's going to be nausea and upset stomachs and just feeling completely worn out, insomnia, the inability to shut your mind off and shut your thoughts down at night so that you can, you know, rest and recharge your personal batteries. So let's get on to the solstice that will occur on the 21st of December at 11:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., which would be 8:02 a.m. Pacific U.S., and then it would be 4:02 p.m. in the UK, if I remember correctly. Now this time and has an ascendant of 3 degrees Pisces, and Jupiter is tightly conjuncted at 28 degrees 36 minutes of Aquarius. 3 degrees of Pisces is where you will find the fixed royal star Fomalhaut, and I probably just really butchered that. Don't come at me in the comments. And this is a representation of the spiritual teacher, okay? As I said, we're all being called for a higher purpose. We're being called to ascend. We're being called to embrace our spiritual selves. And this has been going on for almost 2 years now. And with Jupiter in Aquarius, it helps us focus and turn onto bigger horizons in the future. And Jupiter is highlighted on the solstice, and it's in a semi-square to Mercury, which is, you know, big picture, seeing the big picture, new ideas and big ideas. It's also in a T-square to the nodes, so that's, you know, the nodes represent our past and our collective futures. So that's helping us take us from the past to the future. And it will be quintile Uranus, which can also help expand consciousness and reach out toward those galactic energies. The time of the solstice has 4 quintiles in the chart. So this is a very creative time, creative endeavors. And it's a way for us, as the old systems fall away, it's the creative energy for us to bring about the future. So your winter solstice would really be served well by focusing on your spirituality, your connection with the greater good, with not only propelling humanity forward, but also you reaching out, taking time to just focus and embrace and try and reach out to that galactic energy, okay? And with Mercury closely trine to Uranus, this can like cause you to have like epiphanies, I guess I'll call it, and you may have that aha moment and a big like moments of inspiration of where you need to go. The final exact square between Saturn and Uranus at 11 degrees of Aquarius and 11 degrees of Taurus on the 24th will give us another reality check, okay? And further attempts, remember, with Saturn, the government, and Uranus, free will, control versus free will, the old versus the new. There can be another peak in the clash between the old and the new, the past versus the future, the control versus freedom. And external authorities, represented by Saturn, um, like governments with top down structure and coming up against the individuality and personal sovereignty represented by Uranus. So these struggles, Uranus will end up winning in the long run. And if we as individuals and as a collective have taken the time to kind of raise our energy and match that higher vibrational calling, will be, if it will bring a different reality to you, okay? Remember that the emotion of love has the highest vibrational frequency. So, this whole period that we have been experiencing with control versus freedoms, the government versus the peoples, that whole thing, if you stay in a place of love, that vibrational level, government restrictions can't reach that. This solstice will begin an acceleration toward the new. Okay, and remember that Uranus, the influence of Uranus will increase even further when it moves direct on the 18th of January. So this is our time to be able to change the narrative as forces for freedom and truth become even stronger. There is, at the end of December, even still, the chance for things to just be turned upside down and flipped. Okay? On the 27th of December, Mars will be at 9 degrees 46 minutes of Sagittarius, conjunct the fixed star Antares. Now, Antares is typically connected to violence and war, and Mars may also come into play with this. So try to stay grounded and centered and in that place of love and through that period of time, so that you're not incited to take some kind of violent or other outwardly troublesome emotion during that period of time. On the 28th, the moon will be opposing Eris, and then in semi-square with Mars and square Pluto. And Mars is semi-square Pluto. Mercury is square to Eris. And Eris and Mars, remember, those are those brother, sister, feisty, fighting, rebellious energies. So you may feel, during that period of time, like I said, you may feel the need to lash out in a violent manner, and just be cognizant of that. On the 29th through the 31st, Mercury comes to conjunct Venus and Pluto. And this gives you the suggestion, with Mercury being information, right? That shocking news may come to light during this period of time. Keep in mind that the Maxwell trial, it will still be going on then. So there may be some really shocking things that come out during that time. Try to stay peaceful and calm. Remember that Jupiter, which was the ancient ruler of Pisces, enters Pisces on the 29th of December and will be there until the 11th of May in 2022. And this brings on more feelings of spiritual hope and optimism for the future. Just on the 30th and 31st, Jupiter may cause like an overwhelming emotion and the need to express that emotion. And it's only up to you what that emotion. Do you come from a place of anger and a lower vibrational level, or do you come from a place of love and that higher vibrational level? We are going through the growing pains to get us to the new earth. And for us to remember to not believe everything that is put out in mainstream media. And that's both sides of the argument, okay? There's always this way of seeing it, this way, and see it, and somewhere in the middle is the actual truth. And you can frame those facts, like I've said, in multiple ways to put forward whatever argument it is that you want to put forward. If we take our mind off, like the individual, and you look at it as the collective and the process we're going through as energy, this is what we have to do as humanity to evolve and to ascend to that next level up. I think that the coming months and into 2022, through the end of 2022 into 2023, there will be that continued struggle between individual rights and human rights and freedoms versus, the governments and their inflexibility. People will be fighting for their children and what they believe in, and we are the ones who are the creators of the new vision. So just remember to try and stay in that positive frame and come from a place of love rather than from a place of anger, revenge, and those lower vibrational energies. Okay? So with that, I'm going to get off my little bitty soapbox here and get on out of here, guys. As I always say, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.